Hello students. I'm going to cover some information from Chapter 11 of the Peak Performance textbook of the Success in College class, covering creating healthy mind, body, and spirit. These principles, stress management principles, are critically important for you to be able to balance your lives as students, employees, family members, community members. And I've identified 8 critically important strategies in the form of an acronym, STRESSED, that should be helpful in you being able to recall these important principles. The STRESSED acronym, the first S stands for source, and the importance of addressing the sources of our stress can't be underemphasized. All too often, we will adopt other forms of stress management, like eating too much or drinking too much or yelling at the folks we care about around us, and not getting back to identifying what the source of our stress is. Oftentimes, we don't visit that because we're concerned about the creating more stress. If an individual or a situation is stressing us, to go back into it and take it on sometimes initially can be a little more stressful, and oftentimes folks have enough stress going on. But the importance of this is that by taking that on and learning to directly challenge the stressors in our lives, we cut to the chase and are able to maybe eliminate some of the other behaviors and adaptations that we make that get around addressing the source. And oftentimes the source of stress is a person who may be someone who we have a difficult time communicating with or making progress with. But our ability to develop the assertiveness skills, diplomatic skills, to be able to approach that person and work through a conflict, problem, or challenge is critically important. So our ability to identify the source of our stressors and then work with those sources and making progress towards reducing our stress is very important. The second principle for stress management is T in the acronym, which is for talk it out. Stress is something that builds, and our condition worsens when we don't let it out. Stress is a kind of a warning sign that things are not going well, and in order to best identify the source of the stressors and work through them, we oftentimes need to kind of talk that out with other folks who we trust, who can give us good counsel and feedback and advice. Do not let it build and hold it in. That's not a healthy strategy, and then what happens is you stuff and then blow. And usually we're not at our best when we've been stuffing stress for long periods of time. So make sure that you've got folks around you that you can talk these things out with. The R in the STRESSED acronym stands for rest and relaxation. You're going to have an ongoing amount of stress coming your way, and unless you balance that off with fun, with the opportunities to kind of blow off steam and laugh and enjoy life, if you don't take those opportunities on, life can become pretty difficult and challenging and a frustrating mission. So make sure that you take the time to identify fun, healthy, leisure alternatives that will allow you to look forward to things throughout the week and get you through some difficult days and weeks by having those diamonds in the rough installed. Unfortunately, unlike when we were children and fun just kind of finds us, at this point in our lives we sort of have to plan it and make it happen. So, and if we don't, it won't. And this can all become a very difficult grind. So take the opportunity to make sure that you've planned some fun throughout your week, whether it's a movie night or dinner out or a volleyball league. These things give us balance and things to look forward to, and take the edge off of all the demands that are upon you as students. The first S is sleep, and obviously critically important. I think a lot of times we undervalue that because, oh, sleep, I'm just laying there doing nothing. And the reality is it's during sleep that our body rejuvenates itself and our mind rejuvenates itself. The brain gets a lot of work done when we're sleeping because all of our senses are shut off. It gives the brain opportunity to process the day's events, things that happen, and compartmentalize all of the important data and feedback that we've perceived throughout the day with our senses. If we don't get that sleep time, we're starting a new day and we haven't even properly processed yesterday's stuff, so that we can begin to become kind of zombified by not getting enough sleep. That's critically important. With enough sleep, you can kind of operate at 80-90% of your potential. Without enough sleep, it can be 50-60%. You can be a bright, intelligent, enthusiastic person, and with only 2 hours sleep, it's going to be a rough day. The second S is self-awareness, which is all about knowing what your buttons are, knowing what things are good for you, what things to steer clear of, or people, and being wise about what you choose to do and with who, and what kinds of challenges you take on given your own skills and the conditions around you. A lot of times we become overconfident and take on too much and get overwhelmed and stressed and break down. So you need to kind of know what your limits are. I know this is a developmental stage for most college students where they really think they can take it all on. And oftentimes you are able to take on quite a bit. But you need to learn by your mistakes, and you need to begin to understand that there's limits on being able to take that on. The E in the stressed acronym stands for express yourself. One of the important ways of letting out stuffed stress in bits and pieces is to be expressive. If something's funny, laugh. If you're angry or frustrated, you need to direct that anger and frustration towards the proper source. If you don't, everyone will get it, and you will not be someone that folks like to hang out with or be around. So it's kind of the normal ongoing expression of happiness, frustration, anger, joy. That's a safety valve that allows us to continue to stay on track and in sync with our emotions. So that's important. Finally, the D in the stressed acronym stands for diet. And the physiology of stress is very powerful. There are adrenalines and endorphins released that really kind of pump us up and hype us up. And it makes it difficult to concentrate sometimes and difficult to sleep when we're under a lot of stress. And you don't want to compound that by eating a lot of sugar, drinking a lot of caffeine, taking in a lot of nicotine. Those are all additional stimulants that will compound the body's stress response, which is very powerful, and make it even more difficult to sleep and concentrate, which as a student, as a successful student, the sleep and concentration is incredibly important, and without it you will struggle as a student. So You don't want to make things worse by getting into bad dietary habits that make your energy levels fluctuate out of control. And if you're in the middle of the afternoon and you're sitting in an important elementary statistics course and being explained certain principles that are important to you passing the course, and you're nodding out because you ate too much for lunch and the coffee's wearing off from the morning and you're on a wicked sugar buzz that just dropped off the edge. Those are dietary issues that affect your studies and your brain performance. So I hope that you understand that these stress management principles, you're not going to be able to do all of them all at the same time, but it's a toolbox and you can utilize them as needed. And I can assure you that if you gain the command of using these techniques, you will be able to manage your stress levels. Good luck.